right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining our webinar. My name is Stephanie Wilcoxon, and I am with Vertical Alliance Group. I represent the school division of the Infinit-I platform, which is online training for student transportation. And I have Jessica Pinkerton, here with us from NSTA. Jessica?
Hi, thank you, Stephanie and Infinit-I for inviting me to your Zoom presentation today, giving me an opportunity to say hello to our NSTA members. It's so nice to see you all here getting to know our newest vendor partners a little bit better. Vendor partners play an important role within our association, providing valuable and necessary products, services, and resources to our contractor members. When it comes to the variety of vendor partners we have on board here at NSTA, it's very much a collective effort amongst leadership, committees, and members. We have a great flow with cross-committee communications, and this certainly helps our membership committee direct their focus on what members' needs are. And then they get to work on finding credible companies who can help address the identified needs. Our work in onboarding with Infinit-I is precisely this scenario. I wanted to take a moment to thank the Infinit team for their engagement and professionalism as we become better acquainted during their onboarding process. To our members, great things happen when we expand our networks. So if you have a company you work well with and you value their service or products, I encourage you to make a mention of membership with NSTA. Stephanie, thank you again, and I'm looking forward to the presentation today, learning a bit more about Infinit-I's online training resources.
Thank you, Jessica. So we're excited to be a part of NSTA, and as Jessica was saying, with some of the members that are currently in NSTA, we actually came in contact with them. So one of the current members there said, hey, you guys really should look into NSTA as a membership. I know that there's a lot of companies out there that could benefit from your services. And so that's kind of how we started talking with Kurt and Jessica over there. It was through a member invitation. So we're really excited to present Infinit-I to you guys and show you what our platform is and what we do as a company. We started out in the online or remote training world, I guess you could say, back in the 90s, late 90s, in the trucking industry. So it wasn't until probably around 2006-07 timeframe that we started branching out into the school transportation world. And so we have two separate sides of our company. One deals with trucking companies, and then the other side deals with student transportation industry. And so within the student transportation industry, we cater to school districts, we cater to for-profit bus companies like yourselves. And then we also are newly into the state realm where we can do some statewide training for recertification in Tennessee. So that's just a little snippet of our company. And I'm going to show you the Infinit-I platform. We'll just kind of walk through this, and you guys type in questions as we're going. Once you start thinking about scenarios and things that might be happening in your own companies, just go ahead and type in your questions and we'll answer those throughout the presentation. So all of you should be able to see my screen. Infinit-I Workforce Solutions is over here. And then you see the yellow box with Empower Your Team. We customize this for our clients. So this is a demo site that you're looking at right now. If your company came on board with us, it would be, your company's name.infinity.net, something to that effect. So we would customize each site for your companies or your school districts whenever you come on board. So right here, this logo would be your own. Your username and password, we try to set that to something simple. So for instance, you may have employee ID numbers that you're currently using, for clocking in the morning, or you may have an employee email address that your people have. You can use those as the username, something they're familiar with. And then the password you can set to something like safety, just something generic. They have the ability to change their password if they want to. And then we also have a support side of this. So a lot of times when you're implementing something new, especially like online training, you may have people that run into your office and they say, we don't know how to log in. We forgot what our username is. We can't find our assignment. So we have a support line for your folks that they can call us directly and say, I don't know how to do this. Can you help me? And we'll help troubleshoot with them directly over the phone. So that's one of the great points about Infinit-I is the support side of it. We're very heavy on support because we want to make sure that as you're going into online training, it's different, it's new. So we want to make sure that, you know, we're kind of holding your hand throughout the process. Also down here, you'll see a login message. This can be customized. So if you have like username is your employee ID number, password equals safety. I've seen people embed the weather here. So you can customize this, even put a video of yourselves. Hey, welcome to our new online training site. Hope you enjoy it. Just something to welcome them to the training site. So we'll go ahead and log in. And what we're looking at now is the administrator side of the platform. So there's different roles. When you think about online training and how you would implement this and deploy this, you might not want your drivers or your team members to see everything that you can see. So you can manage their role within the platform. What you're looking at, again, is the administrator side. This is what you can see. So you have your users, your groups. You can create assignments within here. We have a feature called Roll Call that might help with some of your in-person training that you're doing. And then you've got reports because everything is documented in here, and you've got some settings within the platform that you can kind of customize to your preference. So we'll go ahead and look at the users. And I'm going to add a user in here so that we can see what this looks like. So we'll do, I'm showing this because I think it's important, you know, when you're using an online platform or any sort of software, you know, you're always wondering what sort of information do you need from my employees. So the information that we need is just very straightforward. We need their first name, their last name. We need to know how you want to style their username and what their password would be. And then we can create a user profile. So there's other fields within the platform that may be helpful for you to store information. We have other recommended fields that, you know, we recommend very highly that you use them. But what you're looking at right now, this is all we really need. So the email address or the mobile number, those are highly recommended fields because as you're creating assignments in here, you may want to send an email or send a text notification letting people know that they have new training. So when you type either or, email address or mobile number, then they would get a text alert or an email that says, hey, you've got new training that needs to be completed. Go ahead and click on the link. And it would take them directly into your company's training site so that they can log in. So those are very highly recommended fields, but again, not necessary. So other fields that you see here would be like date of birth and hire date. You may, as a company, want to celebrate birthdays for the month of September. So if you choose to store that information in here, you can pull reports on it. Same for the hire date. If you're celebrating years of service with your company, you can pull reports on that information as well. But again, it's not needed. And then you've got different roles here. So again, you're looking at the admin role. A user role would be like your drivers or team members within your organization. And then your group admin, you can think of this like you have different locations. You've got different locations throughout the state of Pennsylvania or Minnesota or wherever you may be located. And you can have a group administrator that's essentially like a safety trainer for that location. So when they log in, they can't see everything that you see as an administrator over the platform. They can only see what's happening at their own location. So that would be an example of how you might use a group admin role. But I'm just going to create a basic user so we can look at the differences between what you see as an administrator and then what your drivers or your team members would see. Notification preference, if we have typed email or mobile, then again, you just decide for Leanne specifically, how did she like to, you know, receive her notifications of training? And then you would just click one or the other. Your user group membership. So you have the ability to assign tags to people. And, you know, again, if you're thinking about this for your company, how would you assign training out? You may have a group for new hires. You may have a group for things that are happening at the Westchester location specifically. You may have something for when you're operating a bus in Pennsylvania, you need to know this. So you can create different groups and you can place people accordingly so that they get the sort of training that they need to have for whatever location that they're driving for. Or if you have sped drivers and you want to assign something specifically to them that maybe you don't assign to your regular ed drivers, you can put multiple tags on a profile. And then we have address information. So this isn't necessary. We don't need this. But again, if you want to store it here, you can. And then the license types. This is not just for driver's license, but I've spoken with several people who may have a spreadsheet that they're keeping track of driver's license numbers. They may already have a different system, a routing software that they're using to store this information. But if you don't, this is perfect. So you can put in a driver's license number, you can put in a medical certification, so like their DOT physical when that's coming up for renewal. If they have CPR or first aid assigned, to them, then you can also track expiration dates for that or renewals. We don't need the license number. You can just type in CDL. That's fine. The only thing we're really looking at is the expiration date so that you can pull reports on those and see who's coming up for renewal within your department. So we'll go ahead and hit next. And that's it. So we've created a user profile for Leanne. And now we'll look at our groups. We kind of talked about this already, but these are just some examples. So as you're doing training as a company, there may be a different training regimen that you go through with your new hires. You may assign out your team member handbook. You may assign out, rules for driving for your company. Expectations of your drivers. So every company, every school district, every state, they all train very differently. And your groups allow you to customize the training for your company, for your employees at your locations, or you can just drill down to an individual to assign training out. But again, your groups, you can assign out to multiple people. I could be a driver, and then sometimes I could be a monitor. Or I could be a monitor full-time, but sometimes, I drive. I'm a sub-driver. So depending on how you want to assign out your training, these tags or these groups are going to come in very handy for you. We'll go ahead and assign something out. So part of the beauty of the online training platform is consistency. So for instance, if you have a group of new hires and you give them the same training every time they come through, it doesn't matter what location they're driving for, they have to have certain items as a new employee of your company. You can create templates around that. And essentially what a template is, it already has all of that content associated with it. And then instead of doing what I'm doing right now, which is assigning out an individual assignment, you can actually select from a template and just pick whatever fits your needs. So you can have one that says new hire, you can have one for your in-service training at the beginning of the year. And these essentially just save time. It pre-fills your settings for you and pre-fills all the content also. So we'll do, I'm just going to sign out a quick PDF document so that we can take a look at what this would look like in their classroom. You'll give the assignment a start date and then an end date. So a lot of you are probably interested in preventative training. Retrain may also be a hot topic for your company if you have somebody that gets into some sort of accident. So the start date, if you're going to do something like a preventative training model, a lot of our clients will choose the first of the month to deploy training out. And then it has to be completed by the 15th. So on the 16th, you can pull reports. You can see who's completed it, who hasn't. You can delegate that task down to one of your group admins so that they can get with those drivers who have not completed training and say, hey, you've got some outstanding training. It was due by the 15th. You didn't do it. And then they can go ahead and take care of it. But your start date, this assignment won't show in their classroom until that date. So if you wanted to preset these assignments throughout the year, I could schedule this for October 1st. I could schedule another one for November 1st. And then these assignments have already been created, but again, they won't fall in their classroom until that start date. So right here, we'll do this one on the 24th so we can see it right now. We expect it to be completed by the 30th. And then you have a passing grade right here. So this is up to your discretion. You have the ability to change this. You can say that, you know, they've got to pass this with a 70% to get credit for that, or they have to pass it with 90%. Again, this is up to your discretion, however you see fit. I'm going to go ahead and set this at at 100% for this assignment. And then you've got some different types here as far as how you want to assign this out. Again, if this is something you want to save as a template and you want to use it over and over again, you can do that. The resource only, we'll take a look at what that is. And then a recurring assignment, self-explanatory, something that's going to come over and over again. But I'm going to set this one up as an assignment and a resource so that we can see it in the classroom, but then we can also see it in the resource center. All right, and so now you guys are in the library. Everything that we have in here is an unlimited use model. So we don't want to penalize people for training too much, right? So if you guys have a very heavy training model and you're doing training monthly or maybe even bi-weekly, that's fantastic. Use the content as much as you want. That's what it's there for. But you have a search feature in here. So in our catalog, we've got between 300 and 400 videos. And you have the ability to search for whatever it is you're looking for. So if you had somebody who got into an accident and needed some retrain over distracted driving, you can type that into the library, and then anything that we have associated with distracted driving would show up here. So when you're creating the assignment, you can choose this video and this video and this video. You can choose all of these different videos and then attach it to this specific training assignment that we're doing now. So you can stack them, in other words. But I'm going to pull up a PDF document to attach to this one so we can look at this. And so once you've selected that, you just hit next. And now you've got your groups. So who are you assigning this out to? As I said before, you can do it for the entire company. So regardless of what location, regardless of their job function, everybody in the company is going to get this assignment. Or you can do it for a user group. So either by location or by function, you can decide who's getting this group, or excuse me, the assignment. And then the users, you can drill down on one person individually. So for instance, if you have a driver who's out on a route and they turn the corner and the tail end of the bus swings out and hits a mailbox, they may need some remedial training over tail swing and maybe something over fixed object collision. So you can scroll through and find the individual that you want to, or you can search for them in the search field. Just type in their name, and then this would be assigned out to Leanne only. So she would log in. I'll have a record that she logged in and completed the training assignment that was given to her. And then if you want to take her out on that route again and do some hands-on training with her, you can do that. But the classroom portion would already be taken care of. And again, it's documented. So there's record of that. And now you're in your notifications. So I mentioned earlier that you can do an email address or a phone number. Both are great options. Pick whichever one works for your user, for your team member. I personally prefer text message. So if you are creating a new assignment and you want to send me a message saying, Stephanie, you got a new assignment, and then I've not completed it within 7 days of it being done, you can send me a reminder and say, you still haven't done your training, it's due in 7 days. And then if I miss the mark and it's not completed by the 15th, then you can send me another reminder saying, hey, now it's overdue. Go ahead and get this taken care of. So that kind of takes a lot of the burden off of you guys having to go back and tell people individually, do your training, do your training, do your training. The system will automatically generate a notification and send it out to them. Now at a company level, if you wanted to create a new assignment for everybody in your company, you may want to let the group admin know, we've just created new training. So these notifications would go out to your group administrator for whatever group that you're assigning the training out for. Again, with the completed and overdue, that's up to your discretion, but as frequently as you'd like to, let them know about the training, you've got different options here. And then the administrator, that would be yourself. So if you would like a reminder or a notification letting you know when things have been completed or when they're overdue, then again, that's up to your discretion. But for this I'm going to go ahead and disable them. So I'm not going to send out any notifications for this assignment. We'll hit next. All right, so I've made that assignment. I'm going to sign out from the admin view, and we'll log in like one of your drivers would. Okay, so now we've logged in as one of your drivers. And essentially what they see is what you've assigned to them. That's it. So you guys have access to the entire catalog, but you might not want to say, hey, go in there and do the, the training over student management, because there's several videos. And so to make sure that they're watching the one that you've selected for them, you'll select it from the library, assign it out to them, and when they log in, that's what they see. They see what needs to be done and nothing else. We keep their classroom very tidy for them. So once this is completed, it will disappear from the classroom environment. If you've elected it to move into the Resource Center, which we did on this assignment, then we'll be able to pull it up in the Resource Center once we're done. And again, we'll look at that in a minute. So once we hit Start Class, I can see that this is a PDF document. It should take, a minute or so to complete. And now the PDF document populates for me. So I can come through and read about coronavirus and how it's affecting people and the spread of it and whether there's a vaccine and treatment. I can read all of these things and hit next, and then it takes me into my questions. So this is the same if it is a PDF document or if it's a video. There are assessment questions that follow each video or document that we have in here, so that you have a record, you have proof essentially that this training was completed. I assigned it out to that person and it was completed. That way, if anything ever comes up, records need to be pulled, training needs to be proven, you have record of everything. So this one, how can I use everyday prevention actions? So we read the question, we read through the options, and we remember, oh yeah, we saw avoid close contact with people. That's it. So we hit next, continue, my session's complete. And now it shows that I failed this. So in the event that somebody doesn't pass with the grade that you have set for them, which on this assignment was 100%, it would tell me that I failed and I need to retake this. It's got the play button on there. So I can play this again. I'll review the PDF document, reread it, figure out what I missed. We'll hit next, reread this, make sure that we select the right answer. And now I realize, well, it is this one, but it's also this one and this one. So it's all of the above. And now we've completed it and passed it with 100%. So if we go into our classroom options, I can see what's assigned, which is where we started originally. There's certificates of completion. So this has already generated a certificate that's saying that I've completed that PDF document and answered it accordingly. The certificate populates with your company logo on it. It'll tell me what was completed. It will tell me who completed it. If you'd like to customize it with your signature, you can do that also. But this is just a quick snapshot of what that would look like, and your logo would be down at the bottom there where you see the yellow popping out. So we'll X out of this. And then we can also see what's been completed. So if I, log in and I'm supposed to have training for the month of October and I don't see anything in my assigned area and it's, let's say, October 11th. I don't see anything here and I'm thinking, did I complete that or not? They can click over here and see whether or not it's actually been done. So again, it prevents them from coming to you and saying, I don't remember if I did October's training. They can just pop over here and see what's been completed. And then they have their resource center. So we elected this to move from the classroom to the resource center. Now, one of the things I haven't mentioned yet, which is kind of a key component of our platform, you have the ability to load things that are specific to your company. So again, if you're thinking about your new hire training and onboarding, you have your team member handbook that's been written for your company. You have expectations of your drivers for your company or for your school district. And those are things that you would want to assign out so you have proof that it was given to them. Again, sort of eliminating those I didn't know, nobody ever told me responses that may sometimes come in. But then also for the driver, that's saying nobody ever told me that, they now have proof, that either they were or they weren't told what the proper procedure was. So they can pull all of those things up. You'll assign them out in their classroom, they complete it, you've got a record of it, and now it automatically moves to the resource center if you elect it to, so that they can review this later. So if I was just written up for tardies and I had only been late, let's say 3 times, I can hop over into my resource center and I can pull up that team member handbook and look at the policy around tardies and see, you know, oh, it was 3 times, I thought it was 5. So again, just eliminating some of that back and forth, you know, with your employees. So we can review this document if we want to, and then we also have a mobile app. So the mobile app is now on Google Store and is also on the Apple Store. Every app that we create for our clients will have a registration code associated with it. It's the same as the URL. So, you know, we create a custom URL for your training site, you will have a custom registration code for your apps as well. That's important to note, because when you download the app, it'll ask them what is your registration code for the company. So they would just type this in, and then it's seamless to their classroom, just like it would be in a web browser. So the web browser, whether you're, you know, on an Android or an iPhone, will work, you know, if they just want to type in the web address. But again, they also have access to the app. And, you know, tablets, computers, it's cloud-based solution. So any device that has an internet or a network connection, they can log in and complete their training. So we'll log out of the user and log back in as the administrator. All right, so we've covered the users, the groups, the assignments. Roll call assignments would be used if you have an in-person meeting. So right now you guys may have meetings that you conduct in person, and you might have a sign-in sheet. Essentially this takes the place of that. So instead of there being a sign-in sheet where my friend is not here, but I sign their name on there anyway, just to, you know, say that they were present, you can create a roll call assignment, and you'll give it a name. So this one is our 924 meeting. Oops. And we're covering whatever topic you may be covering, bullying. The start date, when is this going to happen? It happens on the 24th. We'll hit next. And who are you again assigning this to? Whether this is just to a few people, new hires that you have coming through, whether it's to an entire group, you'll select who this is for. You can assign it to several different people, and then when they log in, they have a different section that we haven't looked at yet called roll call. So I'll assign this out to just different people in here and hit next. And then again with the notification, so you can send this out to the user, anybody who's supposed to be in your meeting, let them know that, hey, you've got an in-person meeting that you need to attend. The instructor, if the instructor needs to know, notification obviously, and then to your admin and group admin. Again, we're going to disable these and hit next, make assignment. So we've just created a new assignment, and the way that would work is once you start the training or the meeting, you'll see everybody who's supposed to be in that meeting, and you can check who was there and who wasn't. So this is something that you have control over. You can do this on your cell phone, you can do it on a tablet, but essentially it links these records and reports for your in-person training right here in Infinit-I. So not only can you look at records for training for online, things that they're doing individually, but you can also pull records for things that were completed in a group. So if we say, you know, these 2 people were here, and we complete that. Now this has been completed. We can't change it anymore, but we see who was absent and who was present in that meeting that we facilitated in person. All right, and we'll look at our reports also. These are pretty self-explanatory. Anything that has been completed in our platform, there is a record of. There's a digital footprint of everything that's been done here. So you have a record of it. You can choose to export these, or you can keep them in the system and just pull them as needed. If you choose to export them, you can do it in PDF or Excel, whichever works for you. But essentially, you'll just say, what training dates are we looking at here to run the report? What are you looking at? Are you wanting to see who's completed their training, who's overdue, who's is current? You can just check whatever pertains to your group. And then who do you want to look at? Do you want to use a specific user, or do you want to look at a group? So I'm just going to look at the one user that we've been utilizing for this. And now when I generate this report, I can see the status of it. I can see that Leanne has completed both of her trainings that were assigned out to her. It tells me what they were. I can see the start date and the end date of every one. The course, the content that was related to it, how long it took, the completion date, and then the score. Number of attempts. So this is very important because you may have somebody who your trainers, you know, are using the system, and they're getting in here and looking at reports, and they see that somebody had to do a training module 4 times. So that would indicate that there was something in that video that they missed, or a question that they didn't understand. Something is happening that needs some additional training. So you have the ability to view the test details. You know, if they failed and you want to see which question they're missing, you have the ability to see that. You can also pull certificates of completion, whether it's for the assignment or just one piece of content that you've assigned out. But this is just one example of a report that you could pull. There are reports where you can look at the IP address. If you want to see where's the training being completed, you can look at essentially anything that you could possibly want to know. There's a report in here for it. And that brings up another great point, client success. So we have a client success team that works directly with our clients. Everybody is assigned a rep to their account. And the rep essentially is making sure that everything that's happening in the system is according to your plan. So when you come on board and you say, all right, we're going to try this online training thing out, we'll find out how frequently do you want to use this, because not everybody trains the same. So are you wanting to do this monthly? Are you wanting to do it quarterly? And then we'll look at the login ratio, how many people are logging in compared to how many users you actually have in the platform. They do all of these things for you. So if there's some sort of way that that you want to look at your data and you don't see what you're looking for, you can call your client success person who's assigned to your account, and you can talk to them and say, hey, I'm trying to figure out XYZ and I don't see a report for that, and they can help you with that. So we want to make sure that if you purchase this training platform, it's not just sitting stagnant. You know, this is an investment into your company and into the safety culture that you guys have created. And so our client success team does a fabulous job of making sure that this is just not sitting there, you know, unused. So they do a great job. On the settings, these are pretty self-explanatory. So your display name, that would of course be your company name. You know, you've got a contact for that in here. Your settings, you can turn these things on and off. So for instance, I have an announcement page that I do not have turned on right now. The announcement page, let me back up a little bit. The login page we looked at just a minute ago. When we first logged in, it said your username is this and your password is that. That's something that you can see before you've put in your login credentials. The announcement page is password protected, so to speak, because you've got to be logged into the system in order to see that message. But this is a great place that you can think of as like a bulletin board. It's something that you can recognize people within your company for doing a great job. You can put up, you know, if you're doing a food drive in the month of November and you want to make that announcement to the company, you can do that. But essentially anything that you put on a bulletin board, you can use on your announcement screen. Incorrect answer summary. This is something that I don't have for that assignment. I don't have turned on, but if you wanted to share with your folks, what is the correct answer? If they missed it, then you have the ability to do that and it would populate for them. Notification schedule. This is important also because maybe you don't want things, you know, the text messages or the emails, you don't want them being sent out at 2 a.m. in the morning. So you can choose your notification schedule when these alerts go out to your folks, whether it's after route, whether it's midday, you can change that yourself. And then your license types. I showed a couple that we have in here in this demo site. If you have other things that you're tracking outside of this, I mentioned first aid certifications and you know, and things like that, CPR, You can add additional license types in here that's not necessarily a license, but it has to do with an expiration date when it needs to be renewed. And you can track things like that. Again, you can pull reports on it. If you elect to use it in our platform, then it also populates in the user's classroom so they can see what's coming up for renewal as well. And so that is our settings page. So we've gone through all of the different links here, whether it's users, groups, assignments, roll call, reports, and settings. You may also have training assigned out to you as an administrator. You want to copy that you're following your company's policies as well, that they were also assigned out to you. So you can also look up here in your classroom, and if something has been assigned out to you, it would display here. Just like one of the end users, you have the ability to see what's been assigned, completed. You can pull certificates of your own. And then going back to the users, you also have the ability to look at somebody's classroom. So you don't necessarily need to pull a report, but you just hired somebody brand new and maybe they're completing some of their onboarding training at home. You may want to take a look and see what have they completed or what haven't they completed. So you can click on this person and you can see what's currently in their classroom. You can look at what's been completed. Essentially, it allows you to view what's happening here without pulling reports on that information. So I know that with conversation with a lot of you guys, online training is something that is being looked into, I guess, as an industry, not only for bus companies, but also for state training as well, and school districts. And so, you know, there's some things that you may see in here that you have questions about that you haven't seen before, or you want to know about functionality. I'm going to go ahead and look at the questions and see what we've had come in so far, but there's a Q&A box. So if you have questions about anything that you have seen, just go ahead and type it in there, and I'll look at those and we can discuss them. Let's see. All right, so one question that I have is general areas for training, or recommendations for general areas of training. So that's a good question. It depends on your company, right? So how do you guys train now, and where do you see areas for opportunity of improvement? So again, the main points that our clients would focus on would be onboarding, to make sure that there's a consistent message with everybody you bring into your company. Also for preventative training, because you have a safety culture that you want to uphold. And right now, if you guys are doing social distancing, depending on what state you're in, it may be mandated. It's a great way to still keep safety front of mind without being in a group. So definitely the ongoing preventative training point, whether that means it's monthly or quarterly for your company, whatever makes sense, but that would be another area that we recommend highly. And then of course, retrain. So if you have somebody who gets into some sort of accident, or, you know, you just need to drill down on a specific policy with them, would highly recommend using it for retrain also, just because the documentation and the reporting that's in here with it. Good question. All right, and then how do we implement? So implementation is done with our client success team. So essentially, we would find out, how do you want to utilize the platform? You know, going back to our training recommendations, what makes sense for your company? What gaps are you trying to fill in? We'll get a clear understanding of what that looks like for each individual that comes on board with us. Again, because it's different. You guys all train in your unique ways. So implementation is going to look different for all of you. But essentially, you'll have one point of contact within our company that helps you with the onboarding process. We'll collect a spreadsheet that has all of your user information in it, what location they're assigned to and things like that. And we do a bulk upload. So we'll create or request the URL for your site. And then we'll do a bulk upload and create everybody's user profiles. And then essentially, once everything is completed and the way that you've said that you want it, your client success rep would reach out to you and say, we've completed your site, or you're ready to take a look at it. And then she would do a walkthrough with you and show you how to do things in the system. So she'll go back over how to create assignments, how to run your reports, If you need to add users or remove users, which is another good point, we don't delete, I should say, any users within the platform. So if somebody was driving with your company and they left and went to a competitor or a different school district and they say, never mind, I don't want to be there, I want to come back to your company, you would just deactivate them when they leave, and if they want to come back, you can reactivate their profile. So you still have all of the training records that were associated with them. We don't delete those things. But essentially, your implementation process would look like that. So we'll create everything for you. We'll let you know when it's ready. Your client success rep will go through detail how you do things within the system. She'll empower you to do it yourself. But if you have questions, she's there for you. So good question. Okay. And then as far as our data and backing up, so our solution is cloud-based. Everything is hosted on Rackspace, which is the same server that Netflix uses. It's redundant, so it's stored in multiple places. And that's where our data lives, is on the cloud, so to speak. So everything is backed up. If something happens, your computer crashes, it's not a problem because we still have records of it. It's third-party hosted, so we can't change it, you can't change it, it's unalterable, which is great. If you ever, find yourself in a courtroom, it can't be changed. So the training records are, they're pretty solid. Now on the school side, I can't say that we've really ended up in the courtroom with our clients. On the trucking side, however, they have subpoenaed training records, and they hold up beautifully. So that's not an area to worry about. Let's see, any others? All right. COVID-related content. So we looked at the PDF. We do have that. And then Kurt also gifted us the ability to share one of their videos with you guys, which is cleaning the school bus. And then we have some other content in there for coronavirus as well about, the spread of it, and just making sure that everything is being followed, whether it's temperatures and things like that. But again, as we look, every state is handling coronavirus differently. Every county within the state may be handling it differently. And so again, custom content. If you guys have something happening in your school district or in your company for coronavirus, upload a PDF, upload a video, whatever sort of content that you want to put on here to make sure you are covered. It is your policy. This is the way things are supposed to be handled. You can put that on the platform, and you can put your own assessment questions behind it. Your client success rep can help you with that. And then you can assign it out to make sure that what is happening is according to your district's policy and things like that. So we do have some things in here for coronavirus that you're absolutely welcome to utilize. But if you want something that's more direct to your policies and your procedures, what's happening in your state and local government, then you can upload your own content as well. Any other questions that you guys have? I'll give it just a second. Content for dealing with kids. So yes, that's a hot topic, student management. We do have content for student management. If we go into the library, we have the ability to search, right? So anything that you're interested in looking at, you can just search the topic, and then everything that we have pertaining to student management would populate here. So you have the ability to assign this information out, again, as a group, as a company, directly to somebody who may be having some issues with it. You can view the content before you assign it out so that you know exactly what that message is. And then you can also look at a summary of assessment questions that may follow that video. So as an administrator, you can see this. Of course, your users cannot. But the student management piece that's in here has, it looks like, several questions, right? This is an important topic. So this one has 11 questions for this specific video over student management, and you can see what's correct, what's true or false in here, or what the correct, multiple choice answer is. Something I didn't mention, if you wanted to utilize this in a group environment, you can assign content out to yourself, or your facilitator can assign content out to themselves. You can watch everything as a group. Just plug in your computer to a screen of some sort, whether it's a projector or TV monitor, and you can watch the video as a group. And then if you guys wanted to discuss it as a group also, you can go through the assessment questions together. But your instructor has the ability to print this off, what we're looking at right now. So as they're going through this as a group, they can talk about what would the answer to this be? Why would it be this, or why would it be that? And then they've got the answer key right there, so they can just click through the questions as you're doing this in person. Good question. All right, let's see. There's one more. Does all of the content come with it? Yes, it does. So all of the content that we have, this is our catalog. We have an unlimited use model. It's all inclusive. So I have worked in other software companies and industries in the past where we will say, this is our product, but if you want us to implement it, then you've got to pay this. Or if you want to add another computer to that, then you've got to pay this. Our pricing is all inclusive. So everything that is in our catalog, everything that I've shared with you today is included in the platform. If we come down here, I don't want to scroll too fast and make you guys dizzy, but the student transportation topics that you see in here, of course, you have access to all of that stuff. You'll see a difference between yellow and black. The yellow is things that have recently been released into the catalog. So part of the beauty of having a online platform is that we have an internal video production department. We produce our own content. Every now and again, there may be somebody like Kurt that says, we've got a great video and you may want to use it. And we say, heck yeah, we do. And we'll put that on here as well. But for the most part, our content is self-produced in our in-house video production department. And as we're looking at our catalog and we're evaluating our content, we have the ability to pull videos that may be outdated and do re-release, or if there's a new topic, such as entry-level driver training that's industry-specific that we want to produce content over, we'll do releases for that throughout the year too. So our registration or our sign up, I guess, for our platform includes what we have today and what we may have tomorrow. So as we're releasing it, you'll get a new catalog sent to you every month. The yellow topics that are highlighted are things that have been newly added to the system or redone. So drug and alcohol training, I know, is one that several of you have been interested in. You have full access to that. And of course, it's yellow, so it was recently redone. There's things in here about, again, student management, routing, night operation, bullying and suicide prevention. And then we also have some HR related stuff in here too. So, you're a company and you may need to do training as a company over sexual harassment or over privacy policy or something like that. So there's training in here that is related to HR that you can also utilize. But everything that's in the catalog essentially is for the student transportation department. So we also have some things that are in here over, mechanics, things that your mechanics, if you have that in-house, that they can utilize OSHA type content. Different laws and regulations that pertain to that. So as I'm scrolling through here, you may have seen some things that are of interest to you, but you have access unlimited to everything that we have in here. And one of the cool things that we have also, which is unfortunate that we have to have it, but worth mentioning, active shooter on a school bus. I've seen a lot of training videos out there for what happens in a school building, but we actually have some videos in here that pertain specifically to the school bus if something happens there. Also terrorist attacks or, a school bus being hijacked. So there's some pretty good stuff in here. Let's see if we have any more. Okay. All right, it looks like that was all of our questions that we had. See if anybody else. Nope. All right. So I appreciate all of you guys for joining and taking a look at our platform. Again, it's called Infinit-I Workforce. It is specific to the student transportation industry. And if you have any questions about this, or if you would like to schedule a one-on-one time that your company can meet and take a look at this and answer some company-specific questions about how this would look for you guys, you can give me a call, and I'd be happy to help you. My direct line is 877-792-3866. My extension is 138. Again, my name is Stephanie Wilcoxon, and my email address is Stephanie, STEPHANIE .Wilcoxon, WILCOXSON @verticalag.com. So again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. Number one more time is 877-792-3866, extension 138. And I'd be happy to set something up with you guys one-on-one to take a look at this and answer some questions that you may have outside of the webinar. So thank you again for joining. I appreciate all of your time.